Good morning, everybody. I'm on a little adventure today. Hence, I'm on the road. But I also have fabulous Wi-Fi, which is the key to these live streams at times. So why do you care? Who am I? I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body-mind expert, and I'm a shiatsu massage therapist. But what I do is I use these tools to help women who are in toxic and narcissistic relationships. I help them clear the brain fog. I help them learn how to set boundaries. I help them develop support systems, clear, detox the traumas in their body. I help them think about the world in a new way. I help them get healthy habits in place that last a lifetime. So this is what I do. I help women who've had narcissistic and toxic relationships in their past, either from their family, and most people have, as well as trauma. And if they want to heal from that as an adult because it's affecting their relationships, or they ended up in another relationship with a narcissist and now they're dealing with that, and it's just a whole craziness that unfortunately our world has really gotten to. I had a great conversation with my psychologist the other day about that, about how the people that are coming into her door are much more volatile and aggressive, and it's as if our culture has finally given permission to all of these off-the-hook, narcissistic, self-absorbed, dramatic, emotional So, I guess I have to keep the truck on in order to keep the Wi-Fi going. Sorry about that. Anyways, I was talking about how the world has become a little bit more aggressive. The world has become, especially in our country, it's okay to behave in narcissistic, self-absorbed ways. It's just sort of the norm that's becoming. And if you're compassionate or empathic, or you've got, trauma, or you're more sensitive, then you tend to be the victim. It's this crazy little dichotomy. So today's topic is about why you shouldn't reach out, why you shouldn't look to a narcissist in order to help you get your needs met, in order to help you stay healthy and be helpful and be the best version of you that you want to be. So let's start with when people are children. When people are children and the first time that they reach out, that their love is rejected, that they feel abandoned and rejected, what happens is any sort of first to our mind makes an impact. It gets past the conscious mind into the subconscious and plants a seed. So even ideas or thoughts or experiences in the womb create plant those thoughts in our head that you're not wanted, that you're no good, that you're not valuable. There have been studies about how children, who have become adults, there's no reason that they should feel suicidal or feel, struggle as much as they do. There's no reason. And they were able to usually take it back to that before they were born, they weren't wanted in some way. And it imprints on the fetus. It imprints on the fetus in the womb about those ideas. So even if the whole thing was changed by the time they were born, there was that first impression of I'm not wanted. So when we have that first impression, what happens is we come up with some reason, or we come up with, we do something and we think that it's going to have an effect. So for me, I have a very specific memory of being dropped off at a daycare by my dad. And it was, the first time I remember it, and I was super scared, and my dad left. And then you try all sorts of things, maybe if I get angry, maybe if I cry, maybe if I'm a good girl, maybe if I do everything right, then that love will come back. And so we do all these things, and then for a narcissist, what naturally happens is their mood shifts. Their thoughts shift. They get into a better space. They're not so stressed. And so maybe they're a little bit more present. My dad would, came to pick me up. And I associated my thoughts about, well, I controlled this. I was a good girl and so I got love, or I did everything right and so I got love, or I got mad and so I got love, or I cried and so I got love. And we associate these things even though they have nothing to do with reality. It's our child brain trying to come up with an explanation as to how to control our reality, how to get that love back. And so what happens then is whatever we hooked onto, for me it was, if you do things perfectly, then you will be loved. Then you end up spending a lifetime trying to be perfect in order to get love. Trying to make that work, because somewhere in your brain it's planted that you're going to get love. Now, a narcissist, as you well know, are very self-absorbed. They're focused on their own experience alone, whether it's because of their own trauma or mental health. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad people. It just means that they're completely focused on their own experience. And so when they withdraw, or when they are cruel, or when they're emotionally destructive, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with their state of mind, with their mood, with their stress level, with their issues. But we're still stuck on that point of, if I'm just perfect, then they will love me again. If I do this, then the love will return. I will be whatever it needs to be. I was able to control the situation. So here you have two people, one person who's desperately trying to get that connection and get that affection and that attention, and someone else who is completely, totally self-absorbed. So we have these needs for love and caring. It's a very bad idea to try to get it from a narcissist, because it's not about you, and they literally are not capable of giving you that sort of love and support. They just aren't. They have their own trauma, they have their own wounds, and maybe sometimes they are, but only when they aren't being distracted or hijacked or freaked out by their own issues and their own insecurities. There's a phrase in the Bible, and I'm not a big Bible person, but there was always a phrase that stuck with me, and it was, don't throw your pearls before swine. And so what happens is, and I'm not saying narcissists are swine, they're people too, but some of them are, there's definitely a spectrum, and there's definitely a line of when it starts to become super abusive. You have to recognize what we're doing, what we think will get us love, and recognize that it won't. There's no way you can get love from a narcissist, no matter what you do. No matter how angry you are, or how much you cry, or anything, you're not going to force a narcissist. It's going to be dependent upon their inner experience. What you can do is, if it's a mental health thing like borderline personality, is you can start to let them know, start to help them unwind their own traumas, and letting them know that there's another person in this relationship. That, hello, there's somebody else here, and help start to break them out of their self-absorption. But that's up to you. You get to decide whether a narcissist is worth it or not. So us as codependents or empaths or compassionate people, we keep hammering that same point of what we, thought would get us love with someone that's incapable of giving us. Do you see how that's a problem? Do you see how that's a really bad idea? Because then you're going to just keep failing. Especially the more you try to get love through the things that you did as a child, getting angry, crying, being perfect, being helpful. The things that maybe you did as a child, they're very emotional based. And the narcissist, they're like jellyfish. They're like the sensitive plant. They can they read energy about stuff, and they're super reactionary. And so when you're coming at it of, please love me, they're gonna fight back. They're gonna come at you from their emotional place, and you're gonna end up heartbroken and rejected and angry and hurt and re-traumatized. These are the things that are gonna happen when you try to get love from a narcissist. It's not that they're bad, it just means that they're not capable of it at this time. So what do you do then? You can only get love, really, from you. Typically it's, somebody outside of us giving us permission to love ourselves, giving us permission to care about and respect ourselves. It's we don't trust our own, that we deserve it, that we need it, that it's valuable to us. We sort of wait for permission. And only when someone gives us permission to love ourselves do we allow ourselves to feel love. Do we allow ourselves to feel that gentleness and that kindness? So here's the key. You have to start loving and respecting yourself enough to start giving yourself all the love that you always wanted. When you're hurt, when you're angry, you are the main person that needs to give yourself that care and that love. You are being a narcissist to yourself. You are being someone who is denying yourself all of those feelings of love. Now, sometimes that, the feelings are dependent upon nutrition. Sometimes they're dependent upon exhaustion. And so you have to look at further, not just the words in your head, although those are super important, but doing things which are loving for yourself, doing things which are nourishing for you, which make you feel like a stronger, smarter, more balanced, healthier version of yourself. That's where it comes from. Love cannot come from a narcissist. And if you try to get it from them, you're just going to be messed in the head, because you're still trying to recreate that experience of getting love, in a situation where it's not possible. However, you can get love any moment and any time you want by mindful, kindly, compassionately giving yourself things that make you feel good. Every morning when I drink a glass of water before I get out of bed, that's me loving me, because I'm giving myself the things that I need. Every morning when I take my CBD oil, it's me loving me, giving myself the things that I need, that show my body and show my mind that I'm important. When I make sure I don't eat past 8 o'clock at night because I know it'll make me feel terrible the next morning, that's me loving me. And so when we keep looking outside of ourselves, reaching out to people incapable of giving us love, maybe it was our narcissistic parents, maybe it's our partner, maybe it's somebody at work, maybe it's our boss, and love can come in a wide variety of forms. It can come in respect and appreciation and things like that. When we start getting it from ourselves, then we start vibrating at that level, and it affects the world around us. That's what they mean when they say change yourself first and it'll affect your reality. When you walk into the world in a space of love, loving yourself, respecting yourself, getting the things that you need, not exhausted, not foggy-headed, not in pain, but happy and healthy and feeling good about you and your life, it changes everything. And that, surprisingly enough, is what will then get you the love that you're looking for from other people. Because people are self-absorbed about what their experience is and what they're going through. And they respond to how you make them feel. And so if you make them feel a space of because you love yourself, because you're generating love within yourself, because you feel great, because you're this vibrant light, then the people around you feel more love. And then they're more capable of giving love, even if they're self-absorbed, because they feel good, because they feel loving. So even though it's completely not, and even though you totally deserve it, and even though you give all of this love to the narcissist and they don't appreciate it, trying to get it, trying to recreate those experiences of when you were, you're doing that, the only way to get love, the only place to get love is by giving it to you. And when you give it to you, and when you are in that space, when you're energized and curious and adventurous, and you love you and you respect you, that's what then brings out the best in other people. That's what brings out the love that you've always been looking for, that you've been giving to everybody else. It actually starts by giving it to you. And when you give that love to yourself, that's what draws in and attracts and brings out the love in other people. So it's completely the wrong idea to try to get love from a narcissist. It's completely the right idea to give that love to yourself and then wait and see who gives you that love back, who reflects it back at you, okay? So if this feels complicated and hard and you feel stuck and you need a little bit of help, a couple options. One, I've partnered with a book on narcissism, everything you want to know about narcissism, it's in there. It's very well done. I do a weekly group. If you want to get to know me better, you want to work with me more one-on-one, there's an 8-week narcissist group that I lead. We do a call once a week and have a private Facebook group around it. So if you want to, take a little bit of a leap and see if you like working with me, it's something like only $150. It's partnered with the publisher of the book as well. So that's super affordable. And then when you're ready, give me a message. We'll set up a strategic call. It costs $100, but what you get is 2 calls, and we go through a whole strategic plan. We come up with where you're at, where you want to go, what you need to work on, the skills and tools you want to develop. It's a pretty well thought out structure and path to get you from feeling victimized and overwhelmed and hijacked by your own feelings and into a place of being that woman that you admire, being the woman that you always wanted in your life, that you want to be, that next level of beingness, that next level of leadership and of love and of respect, a whole nother level where you finally start to get the success internally and externally that you've wanted for a long time. Okay, this is how you do it. You work on these issues, you work through them, and this is very specifically working on our narcissistic and toxic relationship things, which may have been going on most of your life on some level or another, okay? So reach out. We can set up a call. Reach out. I can give you the link to the group or the book, and we'll get you on the right track, because we'll figure out a way that you can get the help that you need. You don't have to do this by yourself anymore, okay? So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Talk to you later.